Good evening, friends. This is the old airman, Lawrence Guidry, talking to you from deep in the heart of the Ozark Mountains in southwest Missouri. So, ladies and gentlemen, something came to my attention tonight concerning vaccines, and I thought it was important enough to bring it to your attention. What they're trying now is various things to hold off the virus or the disease, whatever you want to call it, until they can perfect something stronger like a good vaccine. So here's what they're trying in the meantime. It's called blood plasma transfer. Along with the same lines, the FDA has announced a process for medical facilities to conduct trials on experimental treatment that uses blood plasma from people who have recovered from COVID-19. The theory is that the plasma contains antibodies that will attack this particular coronavirus. In late March, the New York Blood Center began collecting plasma from people who have recovered from COVID-19. That's interesting, isn't it, folks? Now, the other stem cells. Okay, a phase 2 or 3 clinical trial that will examine whether the company's stem cell treatment could potentially benefit people with acute respiratory disease syndromes, ARCS. This condition occurs in some people with severe COVID-19. Mesoblast also delivered a potential stem treatment for ARCS. The company is enrolling people with moderate to severe ARCS into a phase 2 and 3 clinical trial in the United States. And then also they're coming up with immune suppressants. In some people with COVID-19, the immune system goes into overdrive, releasing large amounts of small proteins called cytokines. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing it right, ladies and gentlemen. Scientists think this cytokine storm may be the reason certain people develop ARCS and need to be put on a ventilator. Interesting. Several immune suppressants are being tested in clinical trials to see whether the drugs can quell the cytokines storm and reduce the severity of ARCS. These include, let's see if I can pronounce it, ladies and gentlemen, voricitinib, a drug for rheumatoid arthritis, M4620-IE, a drug for pancreas cancer, and IL-6 inhibitors. The FDA also approved a device that filters cytokines out of the blood of patients. Now that's interesting. Next steps for treatments. Here it goes. While a lot of the focus is on developing new treatments for COVID-19, improvements in how doctors care for patients using existing technologies are also crucial. The things that we have to worry about with the novel coronavirus is that it can cause pneumonia and acute respiratory distress syndrome. Lee said there's no way of treating those things that can reduce the effects. So doctors are trying to use those as well. No company has offered a timeline for whether its drug might be used more widely to treat COVID-19. This isn't an easy thing to estimate. After laboratory and animal testing, drugs have to pass through several clinical trial stages before they can be approved for widespread use in people. It's also difficult to speed things up because scientists have to enroll enough people in each stage to have useful results. They also have to wait long enough to see whether there are harmful side effects of the drug. However, drugs can sometimes be given to people outside a clinical trial through the FDA's compassionate use program. That's also nice of them. For this to happen, people must have an immediately life-threatening condition or serious distress or serious disease or condition. Doctors at the University of California, Davis were able to secure this type of approval for a woman with severe COVID-19 to receive remdesivir they reported she was doing well. I wonder what kind of drug that is. Many will take this as a sign that the drug works. But because the drug was given outside of the clinical trial to just one person, it is not possible to know for certain. Also, other people may not have the same response to the drug. So I guess it depends upon the individual and how strong their system is. Improvements in testing can also reduce COVID-19 deaths by slowing the spread of the virus. As cities and states lift stay-at-home physical distances orders, increased testing will be needed to prevent large spikes in infection. That makes sense. The FDA has granted emergency use authorization for many diagnostic tests for coronavirus. Companies and universities around the world will continue to develop new ones. One commercially available test developed by scientists in Europe can show in 15 minutes. Now that's quick, ladies and gentlemen, real quick, whether someone is infected with coronavirus. The test used a sample collected with a nasopharyngeal swab inserted into the nose. Interesting, long word, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? A real-world analysis found that the test could detect 6 out of 10 people with coronavirus infection, a little over 50%. It's performed much better at identifying when an infection was not present. So I'll tell you it's not present, but it's kind of difficult to tell you if it is present. Okay, well, while the test is not 100% effective, it doesn't require special reagents or trained laboratory staff to use. This would make it ideal for health clinics or in low and middle income countries with few clinical laboratories. But it would have to be part of a broader testing strategy. That makes sense. Okay, now we're up to the nitty-gritty, stronger. Vaccines. A vaccine is designed to protect people before they're exposed to a virus. In this case, SARS-CoV-2, this virus that causes COVID-19. A vaccine basically trains the immune system to recognize and attack the virus when it encounters it. Now that's interesting. Vaccines protect both the person who's vaccinated and the community. Viruses can't infect people who are vaccinated, which means vaccinated people can't pass the virus to others. That's nice. This is known as herd immunity. Many groups are working on potential vaccines for SARS-CoV-2, with several backed by the nonprofit Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovation, CEPI. There are more than 100 projects around the world centered on the development of a vaccine for coronavirus. As of May 11, 8 candidates' vaccines were being tested in clinical trials in people. And here's a look at some of the projects. Moderna. In March, the company began testing its messenger RNA vaccine in a phase 1 clinical trial in Seattle, Washington. The studies include 45 healthy volunteers ages 18 to 55 who are getting 2 shots 28 days apart. The company has developed other than mRNA vaccines before. Those early studies showed that their platform is safe, which allowed the company to skip certain animal testing for this specific vaccine. In early May, the company received permission from the FDA to start a phase 2 study of its vaccine. The company expected to start a phase 3 clinical trial in early summer. The FDA also agreed to fast-track regulatory review of this vaccine if it succeeds in phase 3 clinical trial. Inovia. When COVID-19 appeared in December, the company had already been working on a DNA vaccine for MERS, which is caused by another coronavirus. This allows the company to quickly develop a potential vaccine for SARS-CoV-2. Company officials announced that at the end of April that it had enrolled 40 healthy volunteers in its phase 1 clinical trial. It is preparing to start a phase 2 and 3 clinical trial this summer. The University of Oxford in England. Clinical trials with more than 500 participants began in late April. Oxford officials said the potential vaccine has an 80% chance for success and could be available as early as this September. Wonderful news, isn't it? The vaccine uses a modified virus to trigger the immune system. The university has partnered with pharmaceutical company AstraZeneca. They expect to begin a late-stage clinical trial by the middle of this year. Wow, June. University of Queensland in Australia. Researchers are developing a vaccine by growing viral protein in cell cultures. They began preclinical testing stages in early April. Pharmaceutical companies Johnson & Johnson and Sanofi are both working on a vaccine of their own. Pfizer has also teamed up with a German company to develop a vaccine. Their initial clinical trial with 200 participants was given the green light in late April. The two companies began human testing in the United States in early May. Advantages in genetic sequencing and other technological developments have sped up some of the early laboratory work for vaccine development. However, Fauci told reporters in March that vaccine won't be available for widespread use for at least another 12 to 18 months. Wow. This is the timeline to complete the phase 3 clinical studies. Fauci wrote in the journal Science in May that multiple successful vaccines may be needed to meet the demand of vaccinating billions of people worldwide. Wow, isn't that interesting, folks? So we have to wait another 12 to 18 months before a really good vaccine would be available for us. Well, what do they plan on doing? Keeping us all in our homes that long? That's going to be rough, folks. I wonder if they're going to come up with another stimulus check for us, huh? Never know. Well, again, folks, I hope this information is useful to you, and I hope you enjoyed this short video that I have just made for you, and hopefully, folks, that'll be some benefits to you. Folks, again, this is the Old Cajun from deep in the heart of the Ozark Mountains in southwest Missouri, signing off for the night. And don't forget to click on the subscribe button, folks. I really appreciate it. Tell your friends and neighbors. Spread it everywhere you want to, worldwide, if possible. And folks, have a great night, a better day tomorrow, and Godspeed and God bless. Good night, folks.